Well, damn, looks like we are up. What is happening, everybody? Hope everybody's having a fantastic wrap up to your week. Down here in beautiful H-Town, Texas, it has been gross. It has been foggy. It's been just absolutely nasty. All the weather's not looking fantastic for the Legion of Demons coming up this weekend. But that being said, as you know, this is Southeast Texas, so the weather can change at any second. But wanted to touch base with you guys real quick and do a bit more of an in-depth recap, if you want to call it that, of the track rental. So, how'd the car do? Well, ran pretty good. What's up, Alex? Jimmy, I like it. Got the devil horns up. Participant thereof. Dad's car ran pretty good, as a matter of fact. Hope everybody's having a fantastic one. So let's get into it. Michael Corleone coming in with the arm flex. I like it. Slash is checking in. I like that too. Speed Freak's checking in saying, good to see you. Good to see you too in the house. I like it. Destroyer checking in from North Carolina. I like that too. Fast Man saying hello. All right. So let's get talking about it. First of all, what did the car run? Well, take your pick of any 1020 whatever pass you want out of this thing. Here's one where it did 1024 with a 6. Hopefully that thing focuses for you. Here's one 1024 with a 2, which I believe was the quickest pass of the day. There you go. Long story short, 1026, 1022, 1024. The list goes on and on. So oddly enough, the car went 1020s all day. Imagine that. And not too shabby considering how much really isn't done to the car. Now, the question's been asked, what kind of fuel, state of tune, all that kind of good stuff. I started the day on straight 93 octane, and I kind of broke one of my own rules. I had the car sitting just a tick above a quarter of a tank of gas, trying to cheat that weight down a little bit to see if I could cheat an ET out of it. But keeping in mind that the temperature was nice and cool, but it was about a zillion% humid considering we were running in fog. All right. So quick sidebar on the weather conditions. I think the DA might have been minus, I don't know, let's say 1,000 just for the sake of argument, because I can't remember off the top of my head. All I could see was the fact that I couldn't see to the end of the drag strip. Yeah, initially when we first got to the drag strip, it was so foggy that you couldn't see the billboards, like the time boards up there. Not good. That's probably the worst case scenario for, trying to get an ET out of the car and for track prep. Luckily, the guys over at Houston Raceway Park did a bang-up job of getting that thing squared away, so that is an amazing thing. And in of itself is getting that thing to stick in those type of conditions. But yeah, the conditions weren't awesome, but I've run in worse. And if nothing else, I've proven that even in ridiculously good air, you can at least wish for better air, at least in this case. There was at least a tenth of a second sitting on the table early on, but that wouldn't have mattered because, getting back to my original point, I ran the car just a tick over a quarter of a tank thinking that that would be fine, but the car was 60 footing so hard that it would fuel starve on the 1-2 shift. That's right. I was fuel starving my car on the 1-2 shift right at, if you want to call it a quarter of a tank, that's fine. So guys, if you've got one of these things and you're taking it to the drag strip and you're on a tire, run the thing at half a tank. It's not really going to make that much of a difference, all things being said. And at least in my car's case, you won't yip a shift because the car goes into straight up freak out mode because the fuel pressure takes a dive because, well, you've out accelerated your fuel pump. Cheers. I guess I win the day on that. The thing is, it kind of sucks, but the car went a couple of 30s yipping. It would have gone 20s had it not. Easily, and of course put a little bit of gas in the car, went out, ran a 1028 or a 1027. I started running 1020s at that point. Then from there, I was mixing a blend of 100 octane and 93 octane in the car, and the car really didn't care one way or another, and it just kept running 1020s all day. I could have been running straight 93, straight 100. The car really, it had been whatever with it. It still run 1020s. The air just was not going to allow teens. So I think the best I could have hoped for really was a 10.2. And that was really more to the point. It went 20s all day. At the end of the day, the DA was 0 and the car was running 20s. So a little bit of consistency goes a long way there. Now, one thing I do want to point out, the goal of this car, am I going to do anything else to the car? These are some questions that have come up. First of all, the goal of the car was to get the thing as close to a red eye as I possibly could. And I think I pretty well covered that base. It is running 1020s. Red eyes probably run maybe half a tenth to a tenth quicker in the same, the same format. I don't know that a stock red eye would have covered a 9, but it probably would have been deep into the teens. I'd say I'm right there on top of it. The other thing is that, well, quite frankly, it was not really right on top of, but it was just close enough to piss off a stock Demon. So there's that. In a day when, stock Demons were running 980s, anywhere from 980s to 10.0s, my car is running 1020s, and I don't know what a 2 to 4 tenths really looks like, but on the drag strip, it was surprisingly close, a lot closer than you might think, with most of the gains being basically in the first 330 feet. Mile an hour really was not that different. What with my car running, what was it, 132 and a half miles an hour all day, and most of the Demons doing well to get maybe 3 or 4 miles an hour faster. Again, it doesn't seem like a whole lot at the drag strip. Now, if you're right next to the car and you both hit it and you start to just watch the other guy walk away, yeah, maybe. But over the course of, 9 or just over 10 seconds, there's not enough time for the thing to just up and run away from you. So I was having a ball pretty much all day. But aside from that, that's really it. When we're talking about what are the goals for the car, this or that, I've already met every goal that I wanted to go after with the car. It's basically a bunch of stock parts with a drag pack. The car doesn't even have a catch can set up on it. And it's out there running, mid 1020s on a day where if we had, barometric pressure kind of sucked. Obviously, it's foggy. If we'd had a little bit better baro and not the humidity, again, the thing would have gone teens. I'm positive of that. So when you take that into consideration, what else is there to do? I mean, I throw pulleys at it and, shoot for 9s. I'm not really impressed by that. I mean, not in an era where everything runs 9s. I'm doing this with a bunch of stock parts and a drag pack. It's got a red eye drive shaft. It's got a 309 right out of the parts catalog. It's got a Mopar rear seat delete. And that's it, really. I mean, some idler pulleys, which is really more bling than anything else. But that's it. There's nothing else to report that I can think of, aside from the speaker box being removed so I could put this cooler in the back of the car and the fuel to go along with it. I guess my point is it's hit that spot where I don't really want to do anything else to the car because there's not really any motivation to run 9s when everything that's out there is running 950s or 930s. So let me put it to you another way. This car is one pulley, a cat delete, and a set of injectors away from being a 980 car. Pretty much like clockwork. I could go with springs and dig that 980 a little bit deeper, but the reality is it would be a 980 car with a pulley swap, a cat delete, a set of injectors, a tune, and that's about it. But that would put it on the limit of what I would consider to be safe for 93 octane gasoline. And since that's basically all I run in the car, and the way that I've got my tune set up is pretty soft, all things considered, I don't really see a need to go out and try to bump the car up any more than it already is, because the risk to reward ratio starts to slide quickly what with fuel quality being part of the equation in all of this. I mean, if I were running it on straight 100 octane or whatever octane that was at least stable, then yeah, I would probably consider it. But this is a street car. You know, I take this thing on road trips. I like to just drive the thing around in general. And I don't want to have to worry about durability, short term or long term, to go the equivalent of like that much faster. That's weird to me. I don't see it. A 9-second time slip is not psychologically satisfying to me because I've driven cars deep into the nines. I've driven 8-second cars. I know what this stuff is all about. So to me, it's maxed out 93 octane based at the weight. So you throw the street set back up on it and go out and have some fun with the thing. And I really want to kind of drive that point home to some of you guys. I know a lot of times I'll get questions on this channel that that borderline on insanity with what to do, what not to do with your cars. And I'm going to basically just kind of stick to my guns here and practice what I preach. The car's not getting a pulley, and the car's really not going to get anything aside from maybe a set of catch cans, because that's, you know, why not? I mean, it'll at least give me something to do with the car. But aside from keeping tires on the thing and trying to chase some good DA, maybe a couple of tweaks to the tune just to round out some shift points and maybe see if I can a little bit more fuel. I haven't even played with timing yet with this thing. I'm already running 1020s. I'm going to be pretty happy with it. Oh yeah. By the way, let me reset real quick. So that's everything that the car has had done to it mechanically. You got the drag pack and the rear seat delete and whatever. I was running with the passenger seat in the car because it's a car and cars have 2 seats. So I did not remove the passenger seat at all. And that's kind of a point that I wanted to make, because so far as I can tell, everybody that's going for some record is doing this full-on strip, no passenger seat, bumper supports, all this other crap. This thing is basically in the same trim that I drive the thing around, or at least the way that I drive it to the drag strip and back. If I want to go on any long trips, I throw the street setup on it and go for however long I want to drive it for, and not worry about rain or anything like that. I guess the point to all of this is it was run at full weight, if you want to call the way that it sits full weight. And I don't know that anybody else has done that. Nobody else has really at least claimed it. And nobody's got, I don't know, however many time slips, 1020 time slips I've got on this car now. In that guy's basically running it on 93. And believe me when I tell you, I could have run the thing on 93 all day because data looked pretty good. It's winter blend 93 octane, which means it already kind of sucks a little bit. It was pulling about 1.5 degrees to 2 degrees of timing here or there, but nothing outside of the noise that you would see on a stock Hellcat anyway. Although my knock sensors are adjusted, it's winter blend, and the car was still going 1020s. So, you know, even with a little bit of knock retard, the car was going 1020s. As the DA went up, maybe the 100 octane helped out a little bit, but again, I'm still dealing with stock timing values. So there you go. Just wanted to bring you guys up to speed on that. So anyway, checking back in with all you guys. Doc Div saying sub B, nice see you too, man. Jerry's saying what B? What's up, man? Demonology is saying, sorry I missed your track rental, but my supercharger is being ported. I like it. Can't wait to hear the results of that. Dr. Div saying, looks like my slips that day, just 11, 1, 2, and 3 all day. We had a decent DA2. LSX is saying minus 13 was the best that he saw. Yeah, you know, man, I'll tell you something. The problem with the DA that day is, although the temperature was low, man, the humidity, the funk in the air was just terrible, man. I'm just glad everybody was getting down the track. Again, big what's up to HRP for making that track super sticky. Everybody was having a ball with that. Let's see. Demonology saying, hopefully you can make the big showdown on March 7th at the Motorplex. I am looking into it. If I am in town, I will go. Appreciate the heads up on that though, brother. Dr. Sam was hoping to meet you face to face. Oh, talking to Demonology at the track rental. Let's see. Mark is saying, what do you think would be the best supercharger brand if you have a preference for the older 5.7? Magnuson, go with the Edelbrock setup on that with the little Maggie. Actually, they're running the 2650. Go with that. You will not go wrong. Dr. Div saying he always runs his at half a tank. And LSX saying the air was soup for the track event. That was for sure. Let's see. And Dr. Div's asking, I want to talk about catch cans. I need something better on my setup. It's pushing oil with the higher boost numbers, pushing it out the crate case vent. Yeah, I would say modify the valve cover. See if you can run a couple on the passenger side, vent to atmosphere. Gap Time saying, are 18 Hellcat Chargers tuned for 91 from the factory? If so, and I run 100 octane, does the stock add timing? No, it does not add timing. And yes, it is tuned for 91. However, you've got to remember one thing about these cars. GMs do the same thing. They ride the knock sensor. So it will only pull timing. They don't add timing. Fords will actually add timing, but it's just a different way to go about things. And if, let's say, for example, with one of these cars, if it's commanding 16 degrees of timing based on every other spark modifier and the actual command is, well, let's say your command is 18 degrees, your spark modifiers are calling for 16 degrees. That is going to be optimal based on all of your spark modifiers for that airflow for your car. If the fuel quality is not up to par, the knock sensors will catch it. Knock sensor voltage goes up. Part of it's false, but at this point, part of it might actually be real if it's 91 octane, and it'll start to reel that timing back in. Instead of 16, you might be looking at 15 or 14 degrees. That's how these things work, but they will never add timing based on fuel quality. They will add timing due to cold spark tables, but that is only an adder, not an actual part of the timing parameter. Will throw timing at it if you put a higher octane fuel in it. That higher octane fuel only ensures that you will be able to run full command timing, all spark modifiers included, that you're not going to get false knock out of it. Well, false knock would still be false knock, but you're not going to get any actual knock out of it. It's actually a little aggressive from the factory. You'd be kind of surprised with the Hellcats. Now, Red Eye is not. Demon is not, but the Hellcats are aggressive from the factory. Let's see. We got LSX and Dr. Diff hanging out. Let's see, 76239. Actually, I was wearing that shirt yesterday. What are the pros and cons of the 6.1 Hemi in your opinion? Man, how much time do you got? I actually did a video on that. I love me some 6.1. 6.1 super simple. The downside, heads don't flow as much. Upside to that is they're a little bit more fun. They act more like a regular engine. But they're just never going to get to that point. They're not going to get to the 6.4 power point unless you go with a ported intake, camshaft, long tubes, good catback. You can actually make some pretty decent power with those engines though. So I like them because they're a little bit more of a simplistic approach. The only downside, and this is the downside to any of the Hemis, is they're a flippin' nightmare to put a cam in if you compare it to what you might be used to with, say, an older 340 or 350 or even the LS platform. It's just going to be a lot more of a pain in the ass to do camshafts on that. One other thing, you got to know how to speak Mopar, or don't bother trying to start to tune these things. A lot of guys thought they could tune them and ended up blowing them up. Dr. is saying, port the blower. It's something you can do yourself. Just help it flow better. Don't touch the pulleys. Just do the airflow stuff and make it really good with some long tubes and it flies. Yeah, so I don't really think that that's necessary for this pulley ratio on my car anyway. Fastman is, was there a stock Demon there running 955 to break that 965 factory record? Yes, stay tuned. I will be posting that video. That was Ron Silva. And look, here we go again with what is or what isn't stock. Look, for however that class is judged, all right? His car did go 955, and I'm the one that got it on video. So For what it's worth, yes, the car went 955. Yes, I got it on video. It will get posted up here. The video itself looks like shit because I was coming from another part of the track and I wanted to get the video. So I'm a little bit far away and I didn't want to run with the camera and really have it anyway. It's good enough to where you can tell it's his car and it's good enough to where you can see the time. That's really all that matters. Production quality, whatever. But again, is it stock? It's that cringy. It is a one-seat car. So by rights, it only came with one seat. Everything else is stock. So it's definitely stock boost. And he does have the cats on it. GS1 is saying, what up? Can't wait to get some new wheels and tires for my 19 Scat. Appreciate the vids. Thank you much, man. Looking forward to your success with that. Talking about doing that for the drag strip. HU37 says, I don't think DA can be taken as an absolute. When I bring my car to the drag strip at night, ETs don't get faster as it cools off because the humidity increases. ET generally stays about the same. That's 100% correct. As a matter of fact, humidity can have more to do with how your car runs than just a flat DA. If you've got a DA that's low but high humidity, you might as well be running the thing at 0 DA. In fact, I was looking at it. I don't know if there's some kind of an adjustment. I'm not aware of a humidity adjustment for density altitude. But I can tell you that I've noticed that my car will typically run the best right when I get to the drag strip, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whatever. Make the hit, let it cool off, make another hit. If I haven't run a number at that point, it's not gonna. It will probably run whatever number it's really gonna run at that point. And as the track goes away, and as any humidity or moisture gets on the track, that's going to impede traction just a little bit. You can lose a little bit of ET there, but primarily you're losing it because you're sucking in water as opposed to air. The humidity displaces oxygen, and oxygen's what the car runs on. So there you go with that. Let's see. Just one saying he ran a 12.9 at 110 on the 245s. That was a pretty wild ride, I'm sure of that. HE37 saying, if you had to pick between a 5.7 and a 6.1 to build, which would you choose? Depends on the year of 5.7. I would say that if we're talking about year for year, I'd pick the 6.1. If you're talking about a more modern 5.7 versus an older 6.1, I'd probably build the 5.7 if it's an 8-speed car, just because I've got a thing for those cars. So, Jerry's asking 1320 question. I've heard they share, I'm assuming, the same setting on the torque converter, i.e. stall points. Have you heard? I believe, actually, no, I think the 1320 is a little bit higher stall converter. At least that's what I have been told, but I don't know that for sure. But it might have a slightly higher stall. I haven't seen the data on one of those cars. I can tell you, the data on a stock car will stall usually around 3,000, and really good DA, you can maybe get it to 3,200. You can see that in the data when you go watt, the thing hangs at 3,200 or 3,000 RPM. Oh, he's saying, Fastman saying, okay, just wondering because that 955 number and stock has been a big conversation on the forums. Look, guys, don't get me in the middle of this, but all right, I'll jump in the middle of it. So Ray's car, the Redline Red Demon that he just picked up, let me give you an example. That car went 980s back to back to back at the end of the day. That's the first time that car has ever been to a drag strip. And Ray's a hell of a driver, and so there's that. I mean, the car was a legit 980 car basically all day. And that's on a set of, it went 980s, but he was having hell with it. I think it's just the tires. I don't know what the deal was with that, because the track prep was spot on. But the stock, let me think about this. The stock Nittos, I want to say he went 997 or 989 back to back. Anyway, it went deeper than his green card did that actually set the record last year at Legion of Demons for quickest stock on Nittos. In other words, as delivered from the factory with the crate. So That's where his green car sat. Last year in obnoxious DA, it went 9 to 78, and at this track rental, and with DA that was pretty good, I guess, if you want to call it that, but was not stellar and was running in soup. The car went 980s. So actually, if you do the math, if you run the math backwards, the red line, red car is faster. No surprise there, right? I mean, let's be real. But the reality is that when you start to talk about stock, for me, I'm saying, okay, when it comes to demons, as it was advertised, did it run that number on the Nittos? Number one, did it run the number at a drag strip at what DA? You know, the thing is that number is not DA corrected. And that's what pisses me off too. I think everybody's trying to chase a number it's a unicorn number. Now Ron Silva, his car, I mean, I guess it's stock. I mean, he's running a different tire, different size tire. There's some other things going on in there, but it's racer stuff. And so, you know, Ron's a crafty guy. I don't know what that group of people will consider or accept as stock. So anyway, I'm beating that dead horse. I think y'all know where I fall out on that. I don't see tires as, you put whatever tire you want on it and still call it stock. It's a consumable product. I don't consider the gas that it came with stock. I don't consider the windshield wipers that it came with stock. Again, these are all consumable items. People talk about, well, the tire as it was delivered. Really? What if I just don't like the color of it? Can I change it then? Anyway, it starts to all get a little bit contrived, I suppose. So anyway, let's see. GS1, thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. Let's see. GS1's asking, is a 19 Scat Pack faster with the stock shift points in drive alone or by using the paddle shifters? Leave it in drive. You don't need to try to play with the paddle shifters. Trust me. The power band on that car and the shift points in the transmission are really well matched. There is some room for improvement, but you're going to be trying to catch it in like 100 or 200 RPM bites, and it's a little bit tough to do with the paddle shifter. But yeah, leave it in drive. But thank you very much for the contribution, man. I appreciate that. Dr. Div's asking or saying, agree, but anything to help the airflow on the car will help it make power, and it's something you could do in a day to start finish. I think it'd be worth it, or pull the snout. Well, the thing is it's not improving airflow if the airflow demand isn't there. It's just a bigger hole. And I've proven that in other supercharger applications, although not necessarily with this one. Now, is it worth it to do? Maybe. But I don't feel like getting dirty. I'd rather just port intake manifolds for NA stuff. And I'll put it to you like this, porting the intake, it will work if you're turning the car up, if you are seriously spinning the thing. But even then, you're still hampered by the stock throttle body size. You got to get a fast man throttle body, or else it's really not going to do a whole lot of good at that point. You have to marry these parts together. You have to pair like with like. If you don't, it's going to be a mismatched combination. And again, I'm running 1020s without it. What am I going to run? A half a tenth quicker? Maybe, but I don't know. I like not having the work done to the car and have it just be happy the way it sits. Let's see. Fastman saying, I personally do not think anyone will get that 965, the 100-pound driver and mineshaft air on a very prepped track. Got to get the factory back Halo car. It's tough because, look, there's no video of the car running those numbers. That's the other thing. And that point has been brought to my attention on a couple of different occasions. Nobody's got video of that car running. Nobody has got, I mean, if you run the weather report back, I think the DA was like minus 3,000 or minus 2,500 or some stupid number like that. You mean to tell it? First of all, it is irresponsible to quote that number. That's on Dodge. I mean, that I'm surprised. I'm really surprised there's not a class action lawsuit. Uh-oh, hang on a second. I got to plug this thing in before it dies. Just stare at my car for a minute. Enjoy the view. Hang on, I'm coming. This thing's about to drop dead. Time out. Time out. What the shit? Hang on. There, I think that's got it. Has that got it working? Yeah, we're back in business. All right. So, at any rate, getting back to it though, yeah, I'm not porting anything on my car. Too many cars are going way deep in the 9s without porting their snout. And in the 8s, by the way. Let's see. GS1 saying, thanks. Thank you. Chris saying, would putting a Fastman throttle body on a 19 Challenger Scout require a tune, or would the computer adjust for the air fuel? It will adjust for that. And I would suggest it. I have had a lot of success with the Fastman throttle bodies on the NA cars. Highly suggest getting a ported intake manifold to go along with it. But 84 is the way to go, and that'll give you a little bit more throttle response. The car is going to like it quite a bit. So I think you will like that a lot. And then Fastman saying he totally agrees with how they dealt with that the 965 nonsense. My issue with the 965 is it really wasn't well managed. That's the big issue for me. Hang on a second. I'm running into a technical difficulty here. There we go. Let's see. GS1 saying, question about piston and rod changes. Can these be done in car, not removing the engine? No. No, you can't. I would not even suggest attempting that. I would get the car up in the air, drop the cradle, get the engine out of it, and do it that way. Would not try to do it like you're doing it like in an LS, like in a Vet or something like that. Blackbird saying, rumor has it Leah Pritchett actually went faster than a 9.6. I don't know if it's true, but interesting. Maybe. Yeah, there's so many things that keep getting run back on that deal. Somebody, I don't know, you guys will know about this more than I would, or at least better than I would, but there was something along the lines of after Legion of Demons and Ray had gone the 970, and we did it in a headwind, and it was just a big mess, that she had gone out and done another pass. I don't see that being the case. I mean, this is something kind of dumb anyway. I don't know if anybody would actually take any of that seriously, but I don't know. I've heard a lot of weird stuff like that, and I just really don't know what to believe. Here's what I can believe, though. Right now, the way that it sits in whatever guise that there is to discuss, the Demon has basically gone 9s, and that's more to the point, I think, than anything else. The car does go 9s. It will go 9s as delivered with the crate. And, a 9.6 versus a 9.7 versus whatever, I don't know, it starts to get a little bit academic, because 9s is 9s. And it's not like we're talking about a 930 or a 940. We're talking about mid to kind of upper mid 9s. Yeah, Leah doesn't weigh much of anything, and most of the guys that are driving these cars are about 200 pounds. So you got about say almost a tenth of a second that's kind of lingering out there anyway. So by that math, Ray's car on the stock tire, had he had a 120-pound driver in the thing, would have probably gone 9.6 something, which is pretty damn close, especially when you consider the fact that it was in crappier air than anything that Leah would have been running it in. So again, red line red cars, man. They just take over and dominate wherever they go. I can't answer that question, man. That's just the way nature has it. So anyway, getting back to it. Fastman saying, whoa, tell me more about a Fastman throttle body on a Hellcat. I like the name. Yeah, it's a great company. I mean, the guy just takes them stock housing and ports them and uses a larger blade in that housing. They're good. They're good. You know, a little bit of extra flow. The thing is it's a supporting mod, though. It's not a go-to mod. If you have, again, pulleyed the thing up and you are looking to maximize airflow, then it will help you. But in stock form, it doesn't really make a big difference. Like I say, I've seen stock blower cars with stock blowers with stock throttle bodies running 950, 960. So it's kind of hard to justify the extra work when you just don't see the actual added benefit floating around up there. But it does bump up throttle response, and it does make the car a little bit more lively to drive. So from a pure entertainment point of view, could be a definite option for you. The only downside is some cars will get a little bit flaked out with that throttle body for whatever reason. It might be a throttle body airflow table that needs to be adjusted in that. So for the Hellcat guys, be a little bit weary of that. If you've got like a 15 or a 16, sometimes they can get a little bit pissed off about throttle bodies, but typically the later cars don't really care. Just saying. Dr. Diff saying, agreed, want to see that thing go nines without doing a pulley change. Man, I don't think this car is going to go nines, but I think it'll get close enough to nines if I can get some really good air. Let's say it goes teens. I've already gone 24, and I've got a string of 24s, 25s, 26s, but it's solidly in the 20s. All I need is about half a tenth, and the car is going to go 10 teens. It would have gone 10 teens had we had a little bit better air. So for me, I'm looking at it from a little bit different point of view. I'm deep within red eye territory with my car. I'm even deep within, I'm getting kind of close to being in stock demon territory, depending on what stock means on a tire or what have you. But it's damn close to it. And I mean, let's be honest. What's 3/10, 4/10 amongst friends, right? So I'm really stoked with how the car is running. And if it doesn't run that particular number that might be satisfying for others, for me, it's going to run whatever it runs. And listen, guys, I've driven a ton of really fast cars that are a whole lot faster than mine at the drag strip. And I can tell you, they're all fun to drive. They're all fast. All the modern stuff is, for sure. I'm not going to have any more fun with it aside from saying, hey, my car just went nines, but I had to throw a pulley on it to get there. Or I had to do this to it or that to it. Okay, well, fine. It'd be kind of cool to do it on 93 octane. But again, I know the limitations of 93 octane with this thing. And man, I'm just not going to risk, hurting the car to get it to do something on 93 octane. Oh yeah, by the way, the car did it on 93 octane gasoline. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. So not only did it go 1020s, it went 1020s on 93 octane gasoline, where the other cars have to run race gas to run those times. I don't. Not in that air. I just went out and kind of did my thing. So I don't know. Is that a bit of a win on my part? I went 1020s on 93 octane and they ran, say, an average of 990 all day on race gas with a tune that's optimized for race gas in cars that didn't have their passenger seat. Damn, this is starting to make Little Miss Revlon look even that much better. Hell, if I would have had a tune that was optimized for race gas and pulled my passenger seat, makes you wonder, doesn't it? mix in a little bit better air. Hell, we're all running in the same air anyway. Maybe that's what I really should do. Optimize a tune for race gas and get out there and raise a little bit of hell that way. Just a thought. Watch out. Let's see. Let's see. When they left, anyway, where were you going with that, man? I just missed something there. Fastman saying, "Gotcha, Brian. Thanks. You got it." Speaking of throttle response, what's your take on pedal commander for throttle response? I like them. I'm on record as saying I like them, and I'll go even further than that. If you have a car that you're worried about warranty, but you want to spice the thing up a little bit, just get a pedal commander. You can turn up the pedal sensitivity, which is technically you're changing the curve on your driver demand torque table at this stage, but the car will feel like it's got another 40 foot-pounds of torque. Just go that route, and I'm totally cool with those things. You can dial it up, you can dial it back. The thing that I like about the pedal commander is that you can chill it out or you can make it aggressive just based on your mood. I really like them for that. You know, if you're just kind of chill, you're on a date, whatever, you don't need to be, you know, acting a fool. You know, turn that throttle thing all the way down to like an eco mode and you can just chill no matter what. And again, you want to get aggressive, throw the thing in you know, freak out mode and get out there and just barely touch the throttle and have it light the tires up. Whatever blows your hair back, that thing will do, and it will satisfy 90% of the casual person that's looking to get something out of their electronic, their e-throttle, so to speak, but they don't want to jack with something that could potentially screw with their warranty. It's easily removable. Put it back to stock. You'd never know. Let's see. Jerry's asking, do I have any tips first time at the drag strip? Just go out there and have fun, man. Watch some videos, watch how, learn how to stage the car properly, learn how to do the proper burnout. First of all, do not do your burnout in the water box. The water box is just there for you to get the tires wet. Get the back tires in the box, do a quick little rollover, pull up about 5 feet. That's where you do your burnout. Never, ever do your burnout in the water box. It makes a mess of things. You end up dragging water up to the beams with you, up to the staging area. You don't want to do that. But aside from that, learning how to do the burnout itself is critical for your car. Learning how to stage, just you see the first yellow, wait till if you've got somebody in the other lane, wait till they light their first yellow and then just roll forward until you see that second yellow at the top of the Christmas tree light, and then stop. Go ahead and get your left foot on the brake, right foot on the gas, ready to go. When he gets staged, or if you've staged after him, go ahead and stall the car up. If there's no other cars on the track waiting to exit, from there, light's going to start dropping. When you see that third yellow, hit it. You're on your way to it. Get yourself a set of drag radials too. It's more a safety thing than anything else. But at bare minimum, run your car on a set of drag radials if possible. Street tires, with these cars, it's not going to do you a whole lot of favors because the thing's just going to light the tires up. And that can get frustrating. So do yourself a favor, get you some drag radials. Let's see. George's asking, 2019 Charger Scat Pack rear gear change, would it require to unlock the computer to tune? Well, you don't need to unlock your computer if you do a gear change, but you will need to unlock it if you want to tune it further. So there's that. R. Gibbs is asking, keep the content coming for SUV. I like it. Thanks. In the market for a used car coming from Mustangs, and after driving 392s, I might change camps. They're a lot of fun. Caveat on that deal, though, is that they're not as upgradable as the Mustang is. So just know that coming into it. You got to pay the Mopar tax, and stuff can get kind of expensive with them. But if you're not looking to throw the kitchen sink at one of these cars, you can have a car that'll get out there and run 11s with basically not a lot done to it. That'll be a riot to drive. Real torquey, real snappy throttle out of the 392. Which is what I love the most about those cars. They are so much fun to drive. and don't leave a whole lot on the table in terms of modification. But that's kind of a good thing too, in a way, because I mean, hell, you know, you're not spending a ton of money. The money that you spend is going to be on the car. The rest of it's going to be on tires and some tuning, trans tuning. That's about it. Let's see. HU37 saying numbers can be psychological more than anything else. When driving 13, 20 feet, does your butt dyno notice a car length or less? Hell no, it doesn't. Shit, your ass dyno can't tell the difference between 2 or 3 tenths, much less a car length or two. I've had really, really fast passes feel slow. In fact, one of the fastest cars I've ever driven was a low 9-second Nova that it had a power glide, and that was one of the slowest feeling cars ever. But you know, the thing would run 920s, would run 8s on the spray. So there's high 920s, really more like 930s now that I'm thinking about it. I think it went 920s a couple of times. Anyway, 9 with me driving, of course, but 930s for sure. Pretty simple point and click type deal, big block car. But yeah, 8s on the spray, and that thing on motor only was kind of a, I mean, what am I going to say, boring, but it just didn't really do what you would think it would do. And I've had really, really slow passes feel fast. It's just kind of weird how it works out that way. Let's see. Catalyst 99. Is the bare brake kit necessarily better than 6-piston Brembos? No. 6-piston Brembos are really tough to beat. These things are really good. Yeah, I would say Brembo over Bear on that deal. Fastman saying sweet on the pedal commander. Got a thumbs up, of course. R. Gibbs saying, of course, the manual is hilariously fun with a 392. Man, y'all know about the 2 cars at the shop that I wish I mean, it's like the 2 puppies at the shelter that you're happy that they got adopted, but you hate to see them leave. One was a 2014 manual Challenger that I fell in love with. I absolutely love that car. And it was snappy. In fact, it was a 14, so it made a little bit less horsepower to the rear wheels, but that didn't really even seem to matter. The car was snappy. It was fun, easy to heel and toe shift. And I mean, I would just kind of find myself looking for an excuse to drive the thing. We ended up putting a supercharger on it and it ruined it. But yeah, I mean, the car just stopped. That's a car I would love to have just to go out and play with. But you could really feel the weight of the car. You get the thing set up into a corner and you could feel the weight of the car transfer. It was on the stock, you know, shitty ass tires, so it just kind of go into a drift really nice. That car is just a lot of fun. And of course, the other one is the 62 D100 with the 6.1 and nag one. I really hated to see that truck go. I still have that tune on my computer, by the way. Greg is asking, what's your next car going to be? Man, I haven't even thought of that. I'm not looking past the Hellcat right now. The Hellcat does everything that I could ever want a car to do. Now, if you're asking what would my next project be, I'm still looking for a C10. At some point, I've got it. There's one actually right down the street. I just need to go by this shop and see if they would ever consider selling this truck, or if the owner would ever consider selling it, considering it's been sitting in the same spot for about a year. It's a root beer C10 short wheelbase. If you're not familiar with what those are, you got like Dreamsicle would be the white, orange, white. This one is the white, kind of a root beer colored, and then white two-tone. But that's really all I'm interested in doing is building a C10, maybe do an LS swap. Probably not. Leave it small block Chevy, 700 R4 converted, and you know, build a 383 for it and just kind of call it good at that point. I just don't know. I probably would end up doing an LS swap on it. But anyway, that's really what I'm looking to do. For me, I'm just not really all that interested in any of the other modern cars out there. And I'm not really all that enamored with building a 11 or a 1200 horsepower car. I mean, I've had stuff that has made a shitload of power. And all I've ever found with a lot of those cars, I mean, not sour grape in this or anything, but you know, more is not better. And I always go to the shit sandwich analogy. I mean, I'm going to make you a shit sandwich. You want more or less filling. I mean, that's kind of what ends up happening with these really high powered cars. You're a tank of gas away from blowing the thing up. You're just a failure of one part going. It's just, and then you're dealing with aftermarket parts, which have their own reputation for quality or lack thereof. So there's just so much more going on there than really what I would consider to be fun. And I've already done it too. That's the other side of it. So it makes it a whole lot harder, but I just want something, if I do anything, it's to be something that's fun. Now, all that being said, that's my personal project. I've still got my wife's Camaro to play with, which is a 92 TBI 305 Rally Sport. I've got a lot of work to do, just a bunch of little fiddly type stuff that I need to get knocked out. But that will be actually coming up probably this, I don't know, maybe this spring. I'm going to drag it into the garage, pull the dash out. I've got to send that off to get fixed. Some just miscellaneous crap all over the place with the car needs to get fixed. Need to get the car to a body shop. There's a bunch of minor stuff, but here's the thing. I love driving that car. And the interior is pretty clean on it. So there's that. So overall, it's a pretty clean little car. I just haven't really had time to play with it. But I will say this, it's a hell of a fun car to drive. And but that'll be for my wife. Get that one all sorted out. And then if the truck shows up, it shows up. But that's kind of where I'm going with that. Let's see. Dr. Div's saying, I was asking about all the chargers that showed up. I assume you told them to leave because they left and rolled out revving their engines and peeling out. It seemed disrespectful to the track rental. Well, it wasn't their fault. They had been told something that wasn't necessarily true. And I mean, I'd have been pissed off too. They drove in from probably a long ways away because they were told they could watch and they could spectate. I know that I had said on multiple occasions on my channel that spectators were not allowed, but for those that missed it, there was some wrong information that was sent out, and unfortunately, the track wouldn't allow for the spectators anyway, and because we didn't have the facilities for them. I mean, hell, we hardly had facilities for the number of people and crew that we had at the rental this year, which, by the way, next year is going to be a little bit different format to that point. So, but yeah, no, it wasn't, I didn't really think anything of it. They didn't cause any trouble. They weren't there to cause any trouble. They were actually there to have a good time. And unfortunately, they were just given wrong information and I had to ask them to leave. So, but that will happen, and we're working on ways to keep that from happening again. I've been in those shoes, and that kind of sucks. Gibbs saying, why did the blower ruin the 14392? I'd keep one NA and just enjoy the noise. It ruined it because it took some of the, it took a little bit of the fun away from the car where you could just kind of manhandle it a little bit. The blower, it went from making, I think it was 385 or 395 to the rear wheels to like right at 535, 545 to the rear wheels. And although it was a centrifugal supercharger and they don't come on until later anyway, it lost a little bit of that fun factor, and it got a little bit more serious with the blower. So I don't know. It was just a lot more fun to be able to be a little bit more ham-fisted. To be honest with you, it was just a little bit more fun when you could be more childish with it. And to that point, by the way, the next car that I put together for myself, or in this case, truck that I put together for myself, it's just there for me to act like a dumbass kid with. That's it. I mean, it will only be there to serve to light the tires up at will, for me to do stupid donuts, four-wheel drifts, basically just treat it like an old dirt stock car. That's it. I mean, I'm just going to have something that I can rail on. Horsepower therapy appliance. That's what that thing's going to be there for. George is asking, if you change your rear gear with no tune, what about speedometer and shift points, wheel speed sensors? Will it mess with traction control? No, it won't mess with any of that. It will still shift at a prescribed output shaft RPM. So basically your shift points don't change per se. However, it will potentially confound your predictive shift algorithm, but at that power level, I don't think it's going to be enough to actually cause you any issues. Don't worry about that stuff. There's plenty of guys that do that. If you're going from like a 262 to a 309, probably don't have anything to worry about. If you're going from a 262 to a 370, you may notice it yip on a shift here and there, but the car will actually predict, and the predictive will kind of sort itself out a little bit. But to get the best out of it, you're going to need to get it tuned, because there's some rev limits you're going to need to move around, basically so that you don't yip a shift, which just means that the car thinks that it's going to hit a rev limiter, so it chops throttle, starts to initiate a shift, and then gives you throttle back. It'll feel like it almost feels like you're in a manual transmission. It'll go, yep, yeah, like that. That's not what you're looking for. And that's what a tune can solve. So, let's see. Dr. Joe saying, C10, I've got a modern 5.7 Hemi we can throw in it. Hemi swap with a TH400. Yep. Fun for days. I got a block we can stick one of our cams in and let the freedom ring. That would be kind of fun to do. Yeah, throw a 5.7 in it with that Joker cam, put about a $1.50 shot on it and let her eat, man. That's what's up. Long tubes, 1 7/8 long tubes, H-pipe, boom. 2 3/4 inch exhaust. That'd be a nasty little car. Doctor's saying LA swap that Camaro, Hemi swap the C10. Right? No, I'm going to leave that one a 305, man. I love the little 305, man. They're torquey as hell. Tip-in torque is nutty on those cars. I love it. GS1 saying, pretty much my goal is to go 1195 without a tune or an ECU change. I'm in Central Florida, and this is my daily driver, which is why I'm not wanting to go cam. Gas mileage or tune per the warranty at 3,500 miles. Yeah, you can definitely do it. I mean, look, I drove Warren's Scat Pack Core to an 1194 at the last track rental. Yeah, it was at the last track rental, and all he had was drag radials. That car, bone stock. A set of 275 40 drag radials, I think. Anyway, yeah, it's drag radials, and the car was going 11s, so it's definitely doable. Let's see. Oh, damn, GS1, thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that, man. Thanks. $5 contribution, another one, my man. Appreciate that. Dr. Div said, I got 2 Hemi engines that are both good and already plucked from their donors. Don't threaten me with a good time. Actually, what you need to do is you need to find me a freaking D100 that we can put those Hemis into. I'd be all over that. That'd be a fun-ass project. Problem is, I can't find a D100 that anybody wants to sell for a reasonable price, or at least it's in decent enough shape that I'd want to buy it. But that'd be all right, dude. D100 with a 700R4 conversion with a 5.7 Hemi? Shoot. That'd be sick. Although we'd have to put another rear end in if it was the original 6. That's the other thing. Why is I should say D150, not a D100. D100s are mostly 6 cylinders. So there's that. But thank you again, GS1. I appreciate that. Catalyst99 saying, is Dodge coming out with the Angel? No, there isn't an Angel to come out with. The Cuda was slated to be the successor to the Viper as a halo car, but even that's been somewhat shelved. The Viper is being looked at to be a V8 platform now, but which it really should have been from the start. I know a little bit about Vipers, by the way. So there's that to consider. But now the Angel or what have you, from what I'm seeing, no. In fact, there's really nothing looming on the distance right now from Dodge, which is a bit of a problem for a lot of enthusiasts right now. There's just nothing. There's nothing out there for anybody to really sink their teeth into from the Dodge camp. And since they're being really tight-lipped about it, I don't know. A lot of guys are getting a little bit antsy. Owning a V6 Charger and Chrysler 300 leaves you wanting so much more. Yeah, I can understand that. Dr. Div saying, let's do it. Like I said, man, I'm still trying to find a D150 that would actually be worth the time and worth the money to sink anything into. But let's see. I'm just saying that 96 we have is fun to drive with Gen 1 LT1 small block Chevy 350. Talking about the Camaro. And he's saying all the D100s I've seen are junk, dude. They are garbage and junk rolled into one. I just don't get it, man. A lot of those trucks, yeah, you're right. They are junk, unfortunately. And the other side of it too, it double sucks. So yeah, the trucks are garbage, and then the aftermarket, just like with any other Dodge, they don't support them very well. So yeah, it's a nightmare. GS1 say my 04 Cobra with a catback pulley swap and drag radials went 1195 at 115. Good car, man. And it's the 04 Cobra, 03, 04 Cobra Termies. Man, talk about setting the bar high for all of us. I mean, that's really what got us going. So, saying you'd like to at least match or best it. That's going to be easy to do with your car. Steven's saying, yeah, CUDA. I like it. Oh yeah, switch those. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. For me, this is a GS1. Yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah, you wouldn't have any problem going 11s with any of the 392 cars. It's going to take a tire, maybe a little bit of weight reduction depending on your trim level, but nothing more than just normal drag race stuff. You'll be in pretty good shape. But at any rate, as far as, I think that wraps up the questions right there for now. My thing, guys, is that I just want to bring y'all kind of into the fold a little bit. We had some, cars do really well. We had Dr. Div's truck was just about in the 10s. He is a boost controller away from going 10s because the cam that I freaking put to him is not meant to go that low a boost. But the next time he goes to the drag strip, that truck's a crew cab, Dodge, and that thing will be going 10. So that puts him in the pedestal, especially for the tire size that he's running. So that means we'll have at least one crew cab record about to fall. I think it's actually probably in third or fourth place right now at the 11 teen. So there's that. Either right on the podium or just off the podium. We've got some of the truck records. The other truck records fell as well. So there's that to consider. A couple of, I think one or two other podiums were on there. I don't know. I don't even keep up with. I've been asked if my car running 1020s with as little as done with it with just a gear, basically an all Mopar build, is that considered a record? I don't think so. I don't know of anybody that's gone much quicker on 93 octane gasoline or any minor mix of any race gas, what have you, in any DA. There could be some out there. Could be some 10-0s or 10 teens. But running more or less full weight, I don't know. I'm probably on the podium somewhere now with that 24. That pretty much solidifies whatever record would be, I would think, with the weight and everything else I was working with. But a teen is not outside of the realm of possibility. And if a teen's out there, an 09 or an 08 might be out there too. So I think I could probably sneak at least another 10th out of the car the way it sits, but the weather conditions just weren't going to allow for it. So I'm going to be rolling with 1024s. And if anybody's quicker, top of the hat to you, but I don't really give a shit. Because I'm not really going to micro record this thing to death. It's not going to change how I view my car. And aside from that, looks like everybody else really had a good time. So, that's the main thing. It's just having a good time. Next year is going to be a little bit different. I may reduce the field again, just to quell some of the headaches that I ran into coming into this thing. It's going to be more expensive, but I would rather it be a little bit more expensive and potentially not have the issues, or I'm going to make it painfully clear that if anybody is coming, that they keep it to themselves and no period. That way it's a little bit easier on everybody moving forward with the event, because it's not going to ever be an event. It's a private rental, private party, so to speak. So let's see. Jerry saying, getting back to this, honestly, just throw a 426 in a Challenger and slap the CUDA badge, and bam, everybody's happy. Oh shit, right? I mean, it really does. It's true. I mean, just throw a 426 at it, rate it, and call it making whatever power. It doesn't even matter if it's the same power as a 392. Just a little bit more torque. People will eat that thing up. Oh, Sean, he's saying in the house, thank you very much. Saying, thanks for all your help. Couldn't run my personal best of a 1007 without your advice. Stock injectors, 95%, may need upgrading. Yeah, so in getting to that, Shawnee was at the track rental, made the long trek in from Minnesota, right at 1,280 miles or something like that. So definitely a long distance traveler to get down there. Went over to Pikes, did a little bit of work to the car, and went out and ran a 1007. Definitely impressive. And, again, pulleyed car running a fairly decent tune. It's going to need some injectors, though. Those injectors are sitting at 95% duty cycle. So, get you some injectors next paycheck, brother. But yeah, that's an impressive run as well. Thank you very much, by the way, for the contribution, sir. Appreciate that. Dr. Diff saying it was on kill mode either way. Hell yeah. But thank you, Sean. I'll get it up to 14 to 18 soon. Hooking up the boost controller this weekend. When you going out next, I'd like for you to be there. Well, that's a good question. Question mark on that one though, because weather's supposed to be shite tomorrow. Probably not going to go tomorrow. Probably will be crewing at Legion of Demons. So there's that. But yeah, maybe weekend after that would be my next available time to get out there. But yeah, so just so y'all know, Dr. Diff went, just this side of 10s on what I would consider to be low boost. So anything 12 or less to me is kind of low. And yes, I do consider Hellcats to be fairly low boost at 11 pounds. Let's see. Shawnee's saying, should I wait until I can get big enough injectors to support a future E85 swap? Yes. Get the fuel injector connection 127s. Those will be enough injector to cover you for E85 or for where you are now, and you'll be in pretty good shape. And the good thing is that with those injectors and a injected engineering dual pump setup, which is plug and play, it's a pair of E85 rated 450s that are on that kit. You're done. I mean, at that point, you're just a tune away and let her eat. So, but yeah, FIC 127s. Just get with Alex. He'll know exactly what you're talking about. Let's see. Oh, Sean's saying his 03 Cobra email tune and a pulley Nitto drag radio is 1197 at 120. I have had supercharger ever since. I get that. Dr. Div saying he thought it was a good turnout. He didn't have to wait to race. So that's why, guys, I like to keep I am going to keep that rental to 20 cars, no more. At 30 cars, believe it or not, you wouldn't really notice the difference between 20 and 30 cars. But I prefer to have it in at 20 because there's typically the guys, if it's 20, they're hand selected people. You know what I mean? So I know that they're people that I personally know, and that's what I'm going to keep it to this year or next year. GS1 saying, one last one. What if precautionary rear diff stuff should be done? Really nothing. I mean, you can get a rear diff brace, but I don't know that it's 100% necessary. I just get the performance per and the number 4 Mance. Get one of their braces and have it installed, and I mean, you're in good shape with that. other than that, there's nothing you have to worry about. It's a pretty painless operation and yields immediate results. So I say go for it. But nothing, you don't have to worry about anything on that deal. Dr. Div saying fuel injector connections for injectors, they have the best data. Yeah, they do. They have awesome data and they freaking work. The other thing is, I mean, they're Bosch injectors, so you can have them clean, flow tested, the whole nine. I mean, they're absolutely the best. I will caution anybody, do not go with a set of like stock Demon injectors or a set of, if you've got a 392 car and you're wanting to go an E85 or whatever, don't get a set of stock Demon injectors. They're not flow balanced and they're really not serviceable. Not in the way that, like I said, a Bosch are, like FICs are, fuel injector connections. So just kind of know that coming into it. To spend the extra money and get the right part for the application. Just do it. You'll thank me later, potentially. Jared's saying, I just got the alert about the video, but what up, bro? What up, Jared? It was a great time and would love to be there again. Yeah, I had a freaking riot. I'm always bummed out when the track rental's over because it means I got to wait about a year to do another one. So I have thoughts about doing one in the spring though. If there's an opening, I may jump on it. I'll let everybody know if that's going to be in the case. Y'all know how it is down here though, man. Spring weather gets a little bit dicey. If you think January's funky, by the way, we're having the absolute worst January weather we've ever had. So at least in my recent memory. So there's that to consider. I'm out in the garage, I'm wearing a t-shirt. It's about 75 degrees in the garage right now, and it's middle of January. Dr. Div saying that might be right around the time I can get to the track. The FIC 127 is what I have in mind, and it makes bunches of power and using very little of them. Let's see, dual Walbro 450s, 127 injectors, air motive 1-to-1 regulator, dash 8 feed, dash 6 return, sports 12 to 1400, depending on what fuel you are running, guaranteed. And Jared's saying that's a fact about the weather. He's saying don't knock on the hot weather. Man, look, I'll tell you something. I don't mind the hot weather, like when it's supposed to be hot. Like I'm pretty cool with July being hot, August, yeah, me and August are cool. If it's, 95 degrees, that's kind of when it's supposed to be. But, dude, and what's with the fog down here, man? I mean, I lived in San Francisco for 4 years, and, it's almost as predictable here lately. 4:30 fog rolls in, just like it did in the Bay. So, yeah, I'm all right with all that, I guess. A little bit of shot of home for you. But, dude, wasn't expecting that. Where's our 30-degree weather? Anyway, it's just one of those years, not a big deal. Let's see, what else we got? Dr. Div saying the shop floor sucks all day because of the humidity. Dude, this garage, I mean, you've got to be on your game walking into this garage on any given day. Everybody's shop is sweating right now. Everybody's garage floor is sweating, so it's all sticky. It's gross. If you drop something, it goes thwack. I mean, it just sucks. Oh, God, it's fucking gross. And then you can't do any, like, you can't mow your yard or, whatever. So, like, you walk out there and it's like Vietnam, and, like, mowing it ain't an option because it's just going to turn your lawnmower into, like, this twisted, mangled green ball of shit. So, yeah. And that's what I got to look forward to this weekend, by the way. I'm going to throw on my freaking rubber boots and be pushing that bitch around the backyard. Yay. That's my Sunday. Aaron saying humidity. Hell yeah. Wet all day. Shawnee's saying rear end brace and aluminum drive shaft allow me to launch my Hellcat to a 148 60-foot time, which no problems driving back to Minnesota. The Hellcat is a rock. Yeah, and that's one of the things too, guys. I wanted to kind of prove a point with my car is that, look, I can get within booger flicking distance of a red eye and a Demon realistically with a car on 93 octane with really not a whole lot of mods. And if you look at it from that point of view, it's a huge win. And because of that, I'm sitting there looking at it thinking, well, if I do anything else to it, I'm going to take a little bit of that special quality away. So, if it's not as quick or not as fast, that's fine. I'll take a little bit of that stock quality with me. And if nothing else, it's a trump card that I can always play. Dr. Div's asking, what did Sean run? Sean ended up damn near running 9s. He ran a 10:07 at I think 134 or 135 miles an hour. It's pretty good stuff. Oh, hang on. There we go. But yeah, and that's the other thing. I just haven't had the inclination because I kind of already proved a point. Now I can be the antagonist, and that's my favorite place to be. That is where I am the most comfortable, is starting that shit. And if I've got other stuff done to the car, I kind of can't do that. That makes me the runt. And right now I'm kind of the alpha male of stock boost, 93 octane, micro record, circle jerk, whatever. So it's fun for me. I enjoy that. And I just go, stock boost, 1020s. Cheers. It's pissed off a lot of guys that have gone pulleys and didn't go 1020s. That's the other fun part of it. But that's just kind of me. But at any rate, folks, I think I'm going to wrap it up because I got to wake up early as hell in the morning and get the work thing, which is probably going to stretch all weekend in. Unless anybody's got any questions, I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope all of you guys have a fantastic, safe, and fun weekend. Don't do anything stupid. That's my job. And that's a wrap on this one, guys. Y'all have a great one. Adios.